Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Knights of the Alternate Table, and I am getting a new mic, so hopefully my audio quality will sound better. But anyways, today we're talking about what if Hitler was killed in 1923 during the Bavarian Revolution. So make sure to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell, why not? And yeah, if you like it, leave a like or a comment down below. Thank you, and have a good one. So, what would make Hitler die in this timeline? During the Beer Hall Push in 1923, while marching with a band of his followers, the Weimar police force started opening fire on them. The man next to Hitler was shot and killed instantly. So, if the bullet was a little bit more left, Hitler would have been shot straight in the head and killed. This would be what changes the timeline in our aspect to start the video. With Hitler gone and firmly suppressing the right-wing movement, all of a sudden communists, especially on the left, would start to pop up. The Weimar Republic would start losing more and more seats to communism instead of democracy as it should have been. They would slowly grow over time to be more and more communist, so they would start implementing laws to block communism from taking too much power in the German government and to stop all communists from taking power like Hitler did. Or tried to do. Meanwhile, there would be a revolution, mainly in the Rhine, with the workers tired of working for the French as they occupied the Rhineland, so therefore they would overthrow the Rhine and try and take power from the Weimar Republic. This would lead to many shockers and lead to many more revolutions to try and save the German Empire from the evils of communism. So, with the communist revolution in the right would also see that, hey, we need to rebel quickly before the left can take power. So they would start creating an uprising in Bavaria. Meanwhile, monarchists would take power in former Prussian territory, with some anarchists taking power just below that as they were scared what would happen to the Weimar. The Weimar Republic would grasp onto any land they can and try to keep Germany together. The communists, supported by the Soviet Union, would try and take away the Weimar Republic as that was a legitimate government at the time, so they could prove that they are the true government now. Meanwhile, France would support the Weimar Republic as they wanted a weak puppet to bully around. Bavaria would be supported by Italy to keep fascism going throughout the world. The anarchists would focus on the monarchists as they saw them as the ones who were disrupting the government, and the monarchists would be supported by the British to keep their family in power. So, the anarchists would also now take power in Schleswig-Holstein as they also didn't know what was happening to the Weimar Republic. The communists would expand, but be halted in Bavaria, where the Bavarians would slowly expand into Weimar lands. Meanwhile, the monarchists would slowly take more anarchist territory as they were comforting them, as well as the Weimar, to take more power from them, and overall try and stop the communist threat before they get too powerful to not be to stop. The Prussians would then, therefore, annex all of the anarchist territory besides Schleswig-Holstein, which would quickly go to the communists, and as well as the rest of the Weimar would also fall to communism. This would lead the monarchists and the communists being the main front, with the right wings trying to slowly take as much communist land as possible to hopefully stop their growth and at least have the monarchists take power if they can. The monarchists would push further into communist lands, with the Bavarians for the reason being that it's better to be part of the monarchy, where at least some of their ideas can be implemented, rather than being in a communist country where they would be oppressed and slowly killed. This would leave the communists now fighting a two-front war completely with a united force that wouldn't engage each other if they met. The communists would try and hold as much territory as possible, with killing as many. Meanwhile, the German Empire would be supported by Britain and Italy, as now that the Bavarians were being supported and Italy still being somewhat of a monarchist country, would now also support Germany. Meanwhile, the Soviets would be supporting the communist Germans, or the German Republic, to try and quickly knock out the monarchy. They would support heavy massive equipments and heavy amounts of troops, while the British would just give them equipment and Italy would send some units to try and help. The monarchists would quickly take Schleswig and Holstein, as well as slowly take up more land, almost completing the border with France, with only a few territories left to keep on hold to try and escape to France, where other communists could support them. The communists would fight long and hard. They would keep on trying to fight, but eventually it would not be worth it, and they would be forced to surrender. Whoa, new map design. Anyways, the Germans would quickly take the Danzig corridor from Poland with the help of Britain, as the Poles had a good relation with Britain and would see Germany as a new ally with the Polish monarchy also having power. So they would agree as long as they could access the ports that are now under German control. Germany would agree, and so Poland and Germany would now become close allies in this timeline. Meanwhile, France would get more and more paranoid over what Germany was doing, now forming all of these allies that they were once at war with. France would not trust Germany and feel betrayed by Britain and Italy, who was supposed to be allied with them. The only person that didn't betray them would be Russia and the Soviet Union, so they would try and move closer to them to form more bonds against Germany and their former allies of who just betrayed them. Meanwhile, in France, they would become more communist, with most of their legislative branch being taken up by communist powers and seats. After getting a communist elected, they would join the Comintern to formally try and destroy Germany instead of trying to be allies with them and give them a second chance, as they were the ones who overthrew the proper Weimar government. Meanwhile, the Austrians, seeing the reunification of Germany after that long civil war and being a proper German empire again, would realize that they can form Austria-Hungary again, and that they should unite with Hungary. But then the German population would see that now they have a strong German state, and Austria-Hungary isn't holding them back anymore, so they can join. This would divide Austria-Hungary as the Germans unifiers versus the Hungarian unifiers. Germany and Hungary would come to a deal to split Austria in half, with Hungary taking the more Hungarian proportion and Germany taking the more Germanic people, Germany getting the most people. Hungary would feel mistrust and betray, as it was supposed to be directly in half, but Germany ended up still getting more land, and they couldn't go to war as they were such a stronger power than them that they would just be destroyed if they even think about it. Meanwhile, in Germany, Britain and Italy would be fighting for more and more control over them, as which one truly helped won them the Civil War. Meanwhile, in Czechoslovakia, the German-speaking Czechs would want to join Germany as they're more Germanic than Czech, so this would make Czechoslovakia also feel mistrust and betrayed, as well as Hungary, who would have a communist revolution on their own to make themselves great again and stop the Germans. When the German Czechs would try and join Germany instead of being Czech, there would be war, with Czechoslovakia declaring war on Germany, and Hungary, France, and the Soviet Union supporting them. Poland, Portugal, and the Netherlands would also support, as they had closer ties with Germany and Britain. Italy would also join, and the war would begin. World War II would have started, and it would be a bloody one at that. In Africa, most of French Africa would be lost almost instantaneously, with only holding on to the north. Meanwhile, France would advance further throughout the Maginot Line, as the Germans frankly couldn't attack it. The Germans and Italians would quickly advance into Czechoslovakia and parts of Hungary. The Soviet Union would invade more and more of Poland, as there wasn't really anything the Poles could do to stop them. Italy would take over some of the French mountains and hold. The Soviet Union would continue invading Poland, being close to Warsaw, which the Poles would try and defend at all costs, with more and more French soldiers moving across the Maginot Line. France would also start to invade Luxembourg to have a wider front against the Germans to defeat them more quickly and easier. Meanwhile, in Africa, they would lose more and more land, but in Corsica, they would start invading Sardinia to start invading the Italian mainland. Italy would continue advancing further into the French mountain ranges, and Czechoslovakia would lose almost all of its land, holding onto a small bit, as well as the Hungarian invasion of Bavaria and former Austria would be almost completely taken back. Meanwhile, Belgium, fearing either invasion from the French or the Germans, would start to divide on what side of the war they should join in. The Wallonians would obviously want to join the French, but the Flanders would want to join the Netherlands and the Germans, who they were more closely to. This would divide Belgium in half, effectively hurting them and causing a civil war within World War II. Well, that's the end for part 1 of What If Hitler Was Killed in 1923. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you really liked it. And yeah, if you made it to the end, congratulations. Please comment the word potato to show that you made it to the end, because I have seen no potatoes so far. And so yeah, that would be great. And have a good one. Wow, everyone, that was a great video, wasn't it? And hey, look, over on the right, it's a video just for you. And hey, look, over on the left, it was my 50 subscriber special on what if Mexico won the Mexican-American War. So, have a good one. Goodbye!